All right, recapping Lake Martin, the beautiful Lake Martin that is full of a bajillion bass, specifically spotted bass that weigh from about 1.20 pounds to 1.80 pounds. There is, I don't know how many of those fish in there. I don't know how many of those fish I caught this week. It had to be an unbelievable number, probably somewhere around 50 or 60 a day, I'd have to say. Pretty crazy. Catching a 2-pound fish was the name of the game this week at Lake Martin. Starting out with weather conditions, you know, practice was really nice. Big change of pace from Gunnersville. Really nice weather. A little bit cooler mornings, but nothing crazy. Had some overcasts in practice, which I think helped the bite quite a bit. Fast forward to the tournament days weather-wise, lots of sun, very calm conditions, a lot of sun mixed in, stuff like that. Practice for me in general was pretty decent. I was getting, you know, somewhere around 8 to 12 2+ pound bites a day, which I thought was pretty good, and you know, I felt really good going into the tournament. So fast forward to the tournament and kind of what I was doing to find these fish. To start out every morning, I would throw a baby Z2. This one specifically is in a color called Prism Herring, and I would pair that with a 3/16 ounce Horizon LG head from Gamakatsu, and I would target the ditches on Lake Martin. This would generally last for about 2 hours in the morning. Depending on the light conditions, those fish would get up high in the water column. You know, we're talking over 30, 40, 50 foot in these ditches, and you could catch some better spotted bass. In practice, it was a lot better than it was in the tournament. I did catch a couple key fish doing this in the mornings, and it just helped calm the nerves and just get a decent limit going in the mornings, because progressing on throughout the day, what I would do after I threw my baby Z2 in the morning was head to the bank, and that's when the Nico rig would shine. Right here was a spotted bass killer for me. 4-inch Ocho Nico rig, 32nd ounce Wu tungsten nail weight. Throwing this at, you know, fish that were suspended over 8 to 15 foot of water, fish on docks, fish that were up in a foot of water, really anything and anything, you know, up there shallow that I could either visually see with live scope or visually see with my eyes. To be honest with you, the water was really clear this week. So that was kind of the two-pronged approach, I'd say, in the ditches early, and then head to the bank around, you know, right before lunch, and then throughout the entire day. Now, so setups for these two baits. Specifically for the baby Z2, I was using the Mark Zona 7-foot signature series for my minnow rod. Custom light spinning reel. I was utilizing the 18-pound Seaguar PEX braid to that, and then I was using a 19-pound Grand Max leader. That was my setup for the minnow. And then on that signature series as well, it's a 7-foot medium extra fast. One of my favorite all-time rods for pretty much everything. And my other favorite all-time rod for my Nico rig setup is a 610 LFS medium extra fast. And pair that with the custom light reel. Again, same braided line, 18-pound Seaguar PEX 8 braid. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Same leader line as well, the 19-pound Grand Max from Seaguar. And I was using a little bit heavier leader line this week because the spotted bass did have some teeth on them, and you did have to retie quite a bit. So, and they didn't seem to be too line shy. So went with the heavier leader this week. So day number 1, Lake Martin, we weighed, I believe, 11.5 pounds. So a really good start to the event. In the early morning, the ditch bite was very non-existent for me. I did catch one better fish. It was like a 189, I believe, which was a good one for Lake Martin. And then I went shallow pretty quick because the sun came up very early, and those ditch fish were down in, you know, 50, even 60 foot at times. Very hard to hit and just catch down there. It was just very frustrating. So I did end up going to the bank and filled my limit out fairly quickly on the bank, and, you know, got right, you know, as the day went on. I feel like, you know, at noon, the bite really did start to pick up a little more, and I started to get some better quality bites. I caught, I think one around 230 underneath a dock. I caught another one around 230 in about a foot of water, just on a little piece of brush. And then on my way into check-ins, when I finally had my big bite, it was a 2.5 pounder, like literally 6 minutes before I had to check in, just on a little brush pile. Caught that fish and gave me that 11.5 pounds. Fast forward to day number 2, was really just a salvage day for me. You know, I knew I needed over 10 pounds that day to stay in it, and I just hunkered down in my areas that I knew. Got one key bite, it was a 2.5 pounder, and after that, you know, it really wasn't much going. I caught a lot of 180s and stuff like that, but really just wanted to focus on my areas to, you know, stay in there, made sure I made the cut, and we got that over with. And we did make the cut. We ended up catching, I believe, like 10 pounds and 10 ounces, I think something like that. So a good day number 2. Fast forwarding to day 3, semifinal Saturday. We went out. My game plan was to fish some ditches in the morning. We did that, caught some smaller fish, and then went up shallow. When we went up shallow, I decided to cover a lot of new water, you know, as I really didn't do that on day number 2, and had success doing that. I caught one fish close to 3 pounds. I caught my first largemouth of the week that was around 2.25 on a brush pile, and I had found a brush pile that day that had a bunch of largemouth on it that were very hard to get to bite. So I did devote a lot of my time to that. Didn't have a ton of success on that brush pile, but I caught a ton of fish this day. Ended up, I believe, with 11 pounds and I want to say 6 ounces, maybe just a little bit less than what I had on day 1, which finished me up in the tournament in 18th place. So a great finish. That one almost 3-pound bite really propelled me on that 3rd day. We didn't make the top 10, so it's not exactly what I was hoping for, but it was an awesome tournament nonetheless. And I'd come back to Lake Martin. It was a good time in my book. You know, what I was wearing out on the water, weather was pretty decent. In the mornings, I would start out with my Great Lakes Pro rain suit. Underneath that, I would just wear my thermocline jacket, and then I would just wear, you know, your typical lightweight. This is just the tech shirt right here. And I would just wear that, and I would generally just strip my layers as it got warm throughout the day. It really wasn't, the weather wasn't quite a hindrance out there for us, so it was super nice, especially in February compared to the last Gunnersville tournament. But the Great Lakes Pro rain suit in the morning was definitely nice. I think we ended up in 18th place, I believe. So a great finish, honestly. Anytime you can finish in the top 20 against these groups of guys, it's a success in my book. So checking out here from Lake Martin, that is the recap from the Spotted Bass Bonanza. I did weigh in one largemouth, thankfully, on the last day. Finally got me one, 2.25.